Hello, are you sitting comfortably?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Now that was way too close for comfort.
Aerobatic ride number 9, aerobatic ride number 9.
During this student pilot air show, 2 aviators somehow managed to pull off the absolute impossible.
Oh my god.
While attempting a barrel roll, the aircraft entered too steep of an angle and couldn't recover in time. Who knew power lines could pose such a deadly hazard for aircraft? A Mosquito kit helicopter suffered a violent crash, but miraculously, the pilot walked away without a scratch. This is definitely not your average weekend jig-wreck project.
Oh my god.
Avoiding mid-air collisions while gliding relies entirely on visual awareness, depending strictly on a pilot's eyes and lightning fast reflexes. This helicopter was on final approach for landing, when it suddenly began spinning wildly out of control. The violent impact completely snapped the tail rotor off, but ironically, that's what saved everyone on board. A B-29 Superfortress, one of World War II's most iconic bombers, finds itself in deep trouble, creating a frozen moment of pure embarrassment for the airshow organizers. While capturing low-flying firefighting planes in action, a Spectator had a terrifyingly close call as one buzzed right beside him. No explanation needed. That fence definitely didn't just appear there overnight. This is what attempting a touchdown in 300 km/h winds looks like. The plane gets tossed around like a toy while the pilots fight every second to prevent a total catastrophe.
Touchdown now.
Oh dear.
Faced with total engine failure, this pilot picked a nearby crop field for an emergency landing and walked away completely unharmed after a brutal touchdown. Edelweiss translates to noble white, There was certainly nothing noble or clean about this takeoff. Firing up a vintage Radial engine is practically a science experiment. Oil settles in the lower cylinders overnight, resulting in this dramatic Plume on startup. While being marshaled into its parking spot by the ground crew, poor alignment caused the aircraft's wing to slam straight into a nearby pillar. Safe to say, the pilot's heart rate spiked to absolute maximum in that split second. The helicopter lifted off smoothly, but as the pilot tried to climb, a sudden fuel line issue had entirely different plans. This plane was forced to abort its landing and go around after a massive flock of birds swarmed the runway. This is definitely something you'd rather watch for the safety of your living room. A severe compressor stall that disrupts engine thrust and forces an immediate emergency landing.
That a B-29 or any airplane in a flat spin don't supposed to come out. The home system does, because if it does, we continue the air show. Because it's going to take a bunch of them. Y'all think that jet was a fire? Wait till this thing gets over. This don't look good, folks. This don't look good at all. All right. That's $55,000 right there.
You guys.
A textbook flat spin caused by a complete loss of thrust in the left engine. Fortunately, this wasn't a real Superfortress, just a scale remote-controlled model. This Alaska Airlines jet nearly went straight into the water right after touchdown. Luckily, everyone on board escaped without injury. As the aircraft was being towed out for departure, the right engine suddenly burst into flames, bringing the takeoff to a screeching halt amidst thick billowing smoke. The helicopter barely avoided a total catastrophe thanks to autorotation, relying purely on airflow to keep the rotor spinning without engine power. Essentially, it turns into a heavy glider, and controlling it is anything but easy. This helicopter pilot executed an insanely daring acrobatic stunt, diving almost vertically over Namche, Nepal.
Good job. Y'all keep passing them back. Alright, now y'all look up here. Here come your drinks.
NATO fighter jets scramble for interceptions thousands of times a year, though most incidents turn out to be routine communication glitches rather than actual threats. get the wrong idea. This pilot is skillfully executing a high-precision power line operation, guiding the heavy cable through pulleys and maneuvering around the pylon in strong winds, as if it were routine work. A tricky crosswind approach leads to a last-second go-around. The pilot determines the alignment isn't right, slams the throttle, and climbs away to try again. When the camera frame rate perfectly synchronizes with the engine's RPM, it creates an almost hypnotic visual effect. Might be an airshow stunt, but it demonstrates a level of super maneuverability that no Western fighter jet of that era could match. And this is exactly why more speed isn't always a good thing. The moment there's any doubt about a safe touchdown, the flight crew will instantly initiate a go-around, even when the wheels are just a few feet off the tarmac. Taking off in an Mi-24 Hind from a cramped forward position is a complex, high-stakes maneuver. Yet this pilot handles the tight clearance and obstacles so smoothly, it looks like a walk in the park. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can bring you the most dramatic moments.